Hey y'all. Hey Dolores. Hey Yana.
Good evening, everybody. I did not take my nap, so pray for me.
She was watching that game.
I was.
Likewise.
Good day to be a cop.
Yeah, but Miss Netta is just does too much.
Please, Lo. Because now I'm going to play the
He
song.
does too much. Like, golly. What Dolores doing? He must be busy because he ain't talking to us.
Girl, I'm driving home, but I'm here.
You better be safe.
I am. I'm like 2 minutes from the house.
Oh, okay.
Well, welcome, everybody. It's a beautiful Tuesday. It is January 30th. How's that? Did I say it better this time? January?
Yeah, it's February that you fucked up. But
Oh,
yes.
okay. That's right. Okay. Yes. So, hello, everybody. It's January 30th. We had an amazing week of women's basketball as usual. I guess what are y'all thoughts on the week? We're gonna go ahead and get right into it. What were your thoughts going into this week? Any game that left you like with a what the fuck or ooh girl, whatever type of reaction. What are those that y'all may be feeling right now?
I mean, you gotta. Oof.
I feel like the better question might be which games didn't leave me like, ooh, girl. Because, like,
Yeah.
like this week, it just seems like a lot of the top teams were losing or in like really weird ways or ugly ways. And I mean, parity is here. I can definitely say that. Parity is here, and that's what we've been asking for, and that's what we're getting. We're seeing teams in the bottom half of the top 25 beat top 10 teams, teams that are unranked beat top teams or give it to them and make it close. Like, that's what we've been asking for, and it's here.
Yeah, I agree. I think this week was all about like expecting unexpected this season. Like we came into the season with very clear like these are the best teams, these teams are the best portal teams, these teams have the best recruits. And now we are in a space where nothing is sure outside of South Carolina is the youngest, best team in the country. And they seem to be the most disciplined and ready for any opponent, which is a shock to me. But that's been a Don Staley way for the last 6 years. So yeah, it's a great. It's been a dope season. Like I genuinely like was teaching dance last night. Got on my phone and muffin. The first thing I see is Delorman LSU lost. Like excuse me, like what? Like I went to teach thinking there will be no upset, and then Twitter is set ablaze because LSU couldn't hold serve. So that's the type of basketball where like Yo Yo texted me and Lo the other night and was like, can I go on my date tonight? And we were like, yeah. She was like, is Colorado gonna beat? Is Oregon State gonna win? We're like, nah. She wake up. Yeah, should have stayed at like that's what type of season we're having right now. It's pretty dope.
How about you, Lo?
Yeah. It's just been oof, child. That's all I got. Ooh, child. That's what it's.
Got
Ooh, child. Ooh,
well,
child.
well. Looking at our rankings, I mean, 1 and 2, they've stayed the same. South Carolina, Kansas, then there's Stanford and Iowa. There's been a shift because some people have taken some unexpected losses. So you got your Colorado coming in at fifth, North Carolina State they jumped a little bit to sixth. There's UCLA, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Virginia Tech who have rounded out the top 10. And then Gonzaga, they keep doing what they going. If they keep doing what they've been doing, and then the people above them keep losing, they could very well find themselves in a top 10 position. I know right now, so far, they are predicted to host in Spokane. And I don't think that type of a mid major team from a team outside of, depending on if you want to call Big East mid major or not, and then American back when UConn was there, I don't think any team outside of those that weren't Power Five have hosted the first rounds. So I think that would be really good for them. Um, was there any team that you thought going into this week was probably ranked too low or ranked too high that those games over the weekend made you say, I told y'all, I told you so?
Um, Before we get there, I want to say that I think Kansas State has done a phenomenal job.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, I think so. Do they deserve the number 2 spot in the country? Yes. Do I think they're the number 2 team in the country? No. You,
Right,
you, you
right.
go what I'm saying? Like, I think they've fully taken advantage of what's in front of them, so they're there and they completely deserve it. However, do I think that that's the second best team in the country? Absolutely not.
So
So
now,
go ahead.
is that not the second best team currently because they're without Aoka, or does that make a difference that you
I
still
don't
think
think,
that they're not number two even with her?
even with her, I don't think they're the number 2 team in the country. I don't.
Okay.
right
Not,
now.
and that's
Like
not shade. That's no shade at all. Like, I don't want y'all to think of it shade. Like, top 10, sure, but no, I don't think they're the second best team in the country. I don't. But like I said, they deserve to be number 2 now. They earned it completely. So I don't want it to sound like that. But you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
they
that
have a
fit that
tough
bill.
test coming up this week. I believe they play both Baylor and Texas on the road this week or in the up. I know they play Oklahoma coming up, but I believe they have a road game with Baylor and Texas coming up soon.
They
So
just
we'll
beat
see.
Baylor at home. They
Okay,
have
so
Oklahoma and
Texas
Texas
they have
coming up.
coming. Okay, yeah. But what they've been doing without Ioka has been like amazing. I did not. I thought they'd lose sooner without her, and I know last year, they were able to adjust without her, but they've been like they've surprised me. I definitely saw an L coming sooner than it has, and so I definitely agree with them earning it and deserving it at the moment.
mhm.
But are they the overall number 2 team in the country? I would say no. If I had to make an argument for any of these teams right now, crazy enough because they guards are like, I'm sorry to their fans, but their guards are piss poor. But baby, that tandem of Cameron Brink and Kiki Iriofen, oh baby, they is that is a dominant unit. Like what they are doing at Stanford right now, and I don't think anybody had Stanford leading the Pac-12 at this moment. It's been phenomenal. Like I can't even hate. That is a scary duo in the paint.
Dolores, what your thoughts on teams that may not have been playing like they're seeded?
Oh, he's trying to get back on. I got him.
Oh,
He must
gotcha.
have got kicked off. I'm adding him now. My bad. I was looking up at the TV. Okay, he should be back now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with Yana. I think, like, if I'm looking at talent wise, I think Stanford probably is the second most talented team at this moment and most scary. But every team in the top 10 is severely flawed, and every team throughout the top 25 can lose at any point. I agree with Lowe completely that Kansas State has earned the number 2 spot just by doing what they need to do with what they have.
Hmm.
But I think for me, um, who the second best team is a Pac-12 team, but because that conference is such a gauntlet, I
Hmm.
can't necessarily say for sure. Like to me, I think Colorado is the most complete team on the other side of the country. If Betts is not at UCLA, so I can look at a few teams right now, um, and argue that they were either too low or too high. But I have to look at Kansas State and Stanford as the two teams that have done the best with what they have, while everyone else has been chaotic outside of South Carolina.
Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and get into some of those games from this past week, and I think we'll all agree that the game of the week was definitely UConn versus Notre Dame. In one word, what is your reaction to that particular game? And I think y'all all probably going to say the same thing.
Hannah, bitch.
Hannah motherfucking Hidalgo. DAWG. Hidalgo.
Exactly,
That's
and
a dog.
I made sure I put that tweet up there on the Summer Jam screen. So if anybody makes some shirts, make sure that you give me and the committee some. Thank you very much. But yeah, Hannah was sensational, and she did that in front of all the UConn goats sitting there, minus my goat Swin Cash.
Oh,
Um, Listen, I can't say that this space is recorded, but
uh-uh.
shout out to Swin. That was my team. But anyway,
Wait,
um, huh?
okay, I was saying I will shout out to Hannah, but Hannah is what Hannah does, right? But
Hmm.
this girl really stepped up because we
Um,
don't be playing like that all the time. And I think
Citron or Westbell?
Citron shout out to her defense because it's easy to say Paige played bad, but Citron long ass was in her ass. So she
yes.
her too, but that's not who I was talking about. I was talking about Westbell. Westbell stepped up because sometimes she get a little frantic and I don't know what's going on, but she did a really good job. She kind of made it hard to choose like what am I guard, this or that. Shout out to her. And shout out to UConn because they stopped passing the ball to Aaliyah.
Not shout out to Yuko.
Because that was a little silly, all jokes aside. Like that girl, they could not do nothing with her. That's Notre Dame's weakness. And they just said, oh no, psych, psych, next. We're going to force it to Page. That was stupid. But yeah.
What else during that game stood out to you all? Any particular schemes that Niel ran? Obviously, we know that they stopped going to Aaliyah Edwards, but anything else stood out
They've got
outside
to
of?
play the backup big. Like
Mm,
that to me, the game shifted when
Taya.
but she got in foul trouble and they brought in
Hmm?
the backup. What's the starting big's name?
Watson. And then they put Marshall in.
Yeah, when they were forced to put Marshall in,
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame responded. Like I can't even say Niel like was the X factor. I think like she kind of got hit in the head over what she needed to do to beat UConn. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the offense looked more free. Westbelt started playing much better in the second quarter. Hannah just went in attack mode in overdrive. It felt like as soon as um, the big went to the bench, like everybody on the team just looked more free. And it was just dog versus dog. Like once, we kind of got to a place where the game was close again. Um, Notre Dame really responded in a really dope way. And so, yeah, I was just really impressed by the two-man game, of course, from Hannah and Westbell because her Westbell's ability to hit down the outside shot really forced UConn to kind of get a little bit uncharacteristic on the defense because they really did not know where to look or where to go. And I think, Paige just isn't a dog. Like, you can chop it up how you want to chop it. You can, you know, wrap it up in nice bows, call her whoever junior you want to call her. But at this point in her career, like I don't want to hear the injury excuse. I don't want to hear that she was the one-time freshman and national player of the year. Like she has no rings. She has no nothing. Like nobody's scared of the potential legacy of Paige. Like and I tweeted this, but she does not have the same type of winning go factor mentality that the other UConn legends have had. And in a game where outside of Aaliyah Edwards, UConn needed a dog, she wasn't the dog. And her not showing up tells me she's not ready for the moment like Caitlin is. Or hell, Hannah is.
What did I say when y'all was up here saying, "Oh, they Sweet 16, UConn to top this"? I said, "Cool." Beating up on Marquette and Creighton ain't they problem. They problem is when there's another dog in the room, they turned into puppies. And what happened? They wet the bed when it was time to get off the goddamn porch. And we didn't talk about it last week, and I let it go. But all of this crying y'all doing about National Player of the Year and oh, they not talking about Paige and why they talking about JuJu and they talking about Caitlin. Y'all was worried about all the wrong goddamn shit. When you should have been worried about Hannah Hidalgo coming to Gamble and taking the fucking hinges off that goddamn gym. But you worried about what the hell going on in everybody else conference. And let me just say, if Y'all are worried about well this coverage and that coverage. Maybe you should take a fucking look around and look at all of the other conferences and see that motherfuckers is hooping. It's quality games happening every week in all these other conferences. We don't give a shit about y'all beating a motherfucker by 30 in the big league, shorty. We don't care because guess what? When it was prime time and it was time for you to step up and tell us what the fuck you was gonna do, you wet the bed. So we don't give a shit. We don't want to hear no more crying about no coverage. Okay? You'll have another opportunity when you play South Carolina. Let's hope you don't wet the bed when that shit come around. But until then, stop crying about what everybody else got the fuck going on.
I'm weak.
Well, she said it. Any
Ain't
other
nothing else
thoughts
to say.
from I
What
guess
ain't
we
to say
move
what they gonna say now?
in due time. And speaking of in due time, speaking of in due time, we're going to move on to the next game of the week last night. LSU took, I said took, Jesus Christ. LSU takes a tumble. Shout out to Scarlet. They are on a losing streak currently. To they lost, of course, last week to South Carolina, and then was looking to right the path and thinking that they were going to go into the hump, but they were met with Sam's humps out there, and he did his thing and led his team to a victory. So, what were some takeaways from that game?
I think all that disingenuous bullshit that people brought to the TL about the only reason why South Carolina won was because Angel fouled out or because the refs had a vendetta against Angel got shoved right in their eyes in 4K on national TV, the show, the TV, because Tubi TV looked like shit last night, or the other night. Like y'all, they didn't even just get beat; they got holed. I mean, Anissa didn't have a white girl to big one up, yell and scream at.
No,
Like Big Foe was the best player on the court for the entire game, in my opinion, for LSU. Like nobody else was ready for the moment. Angel was begging the refs for a call the whole game. Mulkey didn't coach. She thought energy was going to win them the game. And everything that South Carolina, exposed out of them, Mississippi State and took it and said, I'm gonna hit you over the forehead with it. And that's the game where Mississippi State's best big basically couldn't play the entire game. So to me, it just exposed what we've been saying and been getting called haters for months. They went and got the biggest names, not the best fit. HVL can't do shit for that team. Anissa doesn't work for that team in matchups where both of the other team's bigs are physical and can shake and rock with them. And their weaknesses got exposed. You can't rely on Michaela right now as a true freshman. They just weren't ready for the moment and got hold.
yeah, I would have to agree. I feel like it's not surprising, but it is. I mean, but it kind of is. But it's like everything that we've said since this summer is coming to fruition. Haley Van Lith is not a point guard. We were not hating. We just watched basketball. She's not a point guard, and I'm questioning who like coaches, and I'm questioning the coach. I'm all of the whole staff because what evaluation did you do that you thought that was going to work for your team? I feel like her and Moki made very bad decisions, and I feel like I know Haley be losing sleep at night. Two, they look very out of shape. They're gassed, and yes, they don't play a lot of people, but those girls are gassed. They were tired, and I'm not mad at them being a little tired because I could tell that South Carolina was tired in the game that they played, but they've never been in shape, so it's just worse, and they only play a little bit of people, and it's worse. I just Michaela, bless that baby heart. That the and I always say this: I do not respect Moki as a woman, but I do respect Moki as a well. I did respect Moki as a coach, and I feel like, and I've been saying this for 2 years now. She's not given the same coach she was given that last three that Michaela took, that couldn't have been what you told him to do. Everybody in your huddle was confused. It just not everything just seems off. It doesn't seem good. They gotta figure it out. I don't I It's bad. And it's everything that we knew. That's the saddest part. Like we knew all this was gonna happen and we just people sitting on Twitter. Literally. How do we all know that this was gonna happen and y'all didn't? But y'all get paid for this. Well, who was on your staff that went and evaluated and said, "Hey, Haley Van Liff, I think you should come here, and I think this will work"? Because I don't, I don't want to say I feel bad for her, but damn, now the whole world talking about a girl. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
What?
Yeah, it made it to the TikTok side.
Yes. What evaluate like Moki? and Haley, like, what did y'all sit down and think when y'all made this decision? Like, and then on top of that, Haley, you said you went here to learn to play point guard. And no shade, like, I think Kamoki was at least a good coach at what she did. But what has Moki ever shown you to make you think she was gonna develop you into a WNBA point guard? Huh? Has she ever done that? No shade, and this is not to be shady. What guards have Kim Mulkey stay in the WNBA? Odyssey, she's in and out. The best people that she got in the WNBA are bigs. So what made you think I'm gonna go to Kim Mulkey to learn how to play point guard? What you know what I mean? Like it just seems like
Well,
nobody was, and that's not shady. I'm not trying to be mean, but oh yes, North Carolina just got upset. But anywho, what
Dang, my TV
that's
behind.
so nasty and so rude.
what
I
was
love it.
I just don't get the thought process. Like Haley, you were probably gonna go to the league. I bet you would have been in the first round had you stayed at Louisville. Now you'll go there off your name, but you won't be a first rounder, and it's gonna be harder to make the team. You could not even be in the league. I just don't get it. I don't get the move. I don't get it. I don't get it.
And then on top of that, outside of the game, the last two games from their losses, Kim Mulkey's response has been experience, experience, experience. We don't have the experience. And I would like the media people in the room to question her on that. I feel like she gets away with just saying we don't have the experience because that's her fault. At this point in the season, y'all are what, 22 games into the season? And you still looking for experience on how to close a game, and that's your fault because you don't challenge your team in the non-conference. And I'm just gonna say they deserve this shit. I don't feel bad for them one bit because not last year, after they won that little championship or whatever, and I got the tweet in my bookmark, and she better hope they ass don't get dropped in March Madness early because I tweeted nicely. I said, "Ooh, LSU's gonna have a nice squad next year. I can't wait to see the schedule that Kim Mulkey puts together because women's basketball deserves it." And she responded to me and she said, "We like our little cupcakes. We gonna do it again." Okay, bet. How them little cupcakes doing you now this season so far? Did those little cupcakes help you when you needed the help? No, you haven't learned anything, and now you're struggling at this point of the season because you don't have air quote experience. You have Haley Van Lith, who has played 3 years at Louisville. She's a senior. Angel took you to the Final Four of the championship last year. Anissa is a junior. Flaude was on your championship team. Only person who don't have experience in a sense is Michaela, and that's it. So you got four people on your team that been hooping for a minute now, and you mean to tell me y'all don't know how to close game?
And they mad at Michaela. Like, has she been asked? Yes, but she's also a freshman. Like, she could hit a freshman wall. Like, it happens.
Well,
Damn.
she can't help. Can't nobody else on the team shoot. Shit.
Yeah, about to
While we're
say.
ta- while we're talking about LSU, I just want to make sure that, of course, we keep some of the attention on Mississippi State because Miss Rogers, little Miss Evangelist, and Jacayla Jordan, like they did really they
Uh,
did their things
and
at
Miracle,
for
Miracle
Mississippi
was
State.
the one.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, and
Yeah,
Miracle.
buddy.
And I Jacayla got player of the game or whatever. I know she might have had the most points, baby, but player of the game was Miracle, and that's just that on that on that. You
She
don't win.
brought the energy.
You
A
don't
part of me
win
was
that game
wondering if
without
that
Miracle.
J was in the wrong place. I thought it was a typo
Mm.
initially, and I was like, why are they spelling her name? So I was trying not to pronounce her name, and then it's like, oh, okay, it is. I was gonna say Magirical, but okay, Miracle. Yes,
It's a really dope story behind her name, if I'm not mistaken. I
I
think
just
I
thought
heard
Mama
Carolyn
said she
mention
was
it.
her Miracle.
Yeah.
and that's
But
enough for me. Ah, glory.
hey, man. Um, but no, to B's point, like it was really dope seeing Sam. Like he's been saying all year, we're not where we want to be. We have the pieces. We just got to make it work. We just got to make it rock. And his X factors in the game were both bench players. So, like, in a very similar way to what allowed South Carolina to stay in the game against LSU was it wasn't the first unit that was punching and making the game what it was. It was those bench players and the way his bigs, like his backup bigs, were able to keep um Angel and Anissa in check with sis in foul trouble. Like it was really dope to see how he coached that game and how he schemed, and also just how he allowed his bench players to really be X factors in that matchup.
I
Yeah,
love Sam.
their
I love
energy was
him.
on
He's so
10.
cute.
He is
Oh,
cute.
I'm happy for him. He was my pick for SEC coach of the year. I'm glad he got himself a quality win.
And he made really like he made clutch decisions when it mattered. Like some coaches will keep a player in when they're struggling just to appease to that player sometimes. And I thought that Lauren Park Lane was struggling yesterday
Oof.
and she couldn't get anything going. And he made a tough decision to sit her down. And she's been really good for them this season. But in making that decision, it helped them win the game. Like it really did change everything for them. And so, and as a coach, sometimes you gotta do that.
Yeah.
I
He better got that damn pool. I know that. The
So
pool
what's
better.
the story about the pool?
The
for the kids.
babies, his daughters.
That ain't no baby. That's a grown lady. She had that
I
head on the hip, and she said, "Oh my goodness." I said, "She's weak."
I
Oh,
think to
baby.
Gianna's point about being able to make changes is that I think that some coaches are coaching like Sam was last night based on what they seeing and adjusting to what's going on in real time versus others. Kim probably are coaching based on ego and what is supposed to happen and what is supposed to be on the court. And I think that is a big difference between good coaches and great coaches.
You know what, Shay? Now that you
She
put
wrote
it,
that right on up.
that's exactly what it seems like to me. It's almost like she almost has this, like Dolores said, and you're saying like she thought that eventually energy would win the game. Like we just got the better energy. We just quote unquote better, and it just never really seemed like anything changed. That's a perfect way to put it, Shay.
Were
I've
there
been
any other
saying this
games
for a
in it?
few days, but this is why we all need to look back and say Alexis Morris deserved a lot more credit for that team winning their title than she received. Because it was very clear, like when Kim wasn't going to coach them to a victory, Alexis Morris's dog went out for them. Like her ability to simply put her head down, go get a basket, or go lock up on defense, get a stop. That energy permeated through the team. Like
Come on, permeate.
Angel is an energy player. Like if the crowd starts rawing or if the crowd starts booing, she can activate. But she can't activate if there's nobody to get her activated. And I think that's where HVL fails is HVL is looking to Mulkey for what to do, where to do it, when to do it, because she doesn't have the instinctual or instinctive point guard characteristics to know, okay, I need to get the ball to Angel in this spot. Or I need to get myself to the elbow and make my mid-range jumper. They don't have someone that knows who needs to have the ball when and where. And typically when your starting point guard can't do it, the coach has to coach it. We can clearly see that that's not happening right now.
That's why. That's what was funny about that clip because none of their ass knew what Kim was saying, but they just didn't care. They just walked on off and said, "Okay, girl, whatever. We just gonna figure it out."
Exactly.
Haley was like, "Wait, wait, wait, no, 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 no. Like what? Like what?" You could tell them other girls didn't understand either. They had no damn clue.
Because they've used to being in situations where Alexis just went and got the ball in the hoop.
They had no.
Haley was probably thinking, "You want me to take the shot? I'm that X right there. This is me.
Who's that
You
surfing?
sure?"
Is it me,
Ah.
Jesus?
It's like, all right, shit, okay.
Were there
Yeah.
any other matchups that you all saw since we're on the SEC over the past week that you were intrigued by that you really enjoyed?
Um,
Shout out to Coach Yo.
upset.
yeah, they did the big one versus Tennessee. Shout out to Johnny Harris in Auburn. She been doing her thing so far in the
3 game win
SEC.
streak.
Mm-hmm. They've been doing their thing. Shout out to her.
I know, pray for my babies, but fortunately they've put themselves back into a position where they can host my Ohio State kids but it's still scary, y'all. It's still scary out here.
Where are they predicted right now? Are they a 2 seed?
Three.
Three? Okay.
Mm.
And we were on LSU earlier. They are at around the last time I checked, they were fourth. So I think Yana brought it up in just like passing recently. She was like, they could potentially play themselves out of a hosting position.
Yeah, and that's partially on them and also on the SEC just not scheduling tough. So no one really knows how good the SEC teams are. It's just really hard to get a gauge when you don't do your due diligence in the non-conference. And so losing a game to Mississippi State and Auburn, it kind of hurts, obviously. But I, even looking forward, I personally think the only team they can afford to lose to is South Carolina, possibly at the SEC tournament, because no one expects you to win those games. But if you lose to like a Vandy on the road or even Tennessee, because Tennessee right now is considered, I think, last four in. So losing to Tennessee, it hurts. Like especially when your best win at the moment is Virginia Tech, and that's your only win. And all of your other wins are like bottom net wins. So yeah, they are definitely like a bad loss away from not hosting.
Okay. Shay, this is your moment. We're about to go on over to the Pac 12. And the first game up is USC losing to Washington.
Now, how
Any
the
word?
hell? Now, why would you set it up like that?
Any last words that you'd like to offer up? No, but seriously, the Pac-12 was, I mean, as we said, because it's such a gauntlet, everyone's beating up on each other, and so those rankings are going to be like flip flopping for the rest of the season because they hold a lot of the ranked teams now. That first game is USC losing to Washington. Then we had UCLA losing to Washington State. So it's like the state of Washington took their anger out, I guess, for leaving them high and dry on the city of LA. So, what stood out in those games that you saw, especially Washington, who could be, some trending up? Tina's doing her thing out there with them. They were ranked for a little bit, and so they're probably trying to turn it around.
Well, first off, I want to send prayers and thoughts out to UCLA because I don't know what the details are, but that press conference looked sad. So whatever's going on, I hope that everything is all right over there.
Me too. Oof.
Um, I do. I'm gonna get back to your question, B. But first, I want to give a shout out to Oregon State hooping. They came cleaned up this weekend. I'm
Mm-hmm.
proud, Reagan Beers and the girls. USC, like Rhea has to give me something else. Right now, it's beautiful gowns, and it's not nearly enough. You too damn big to be logging like 6 and 2 and 0 points in the paint in the Pac-12. Like, and for me, and I hate to do this because I love her as a person, but she's a tier below the Vonleys and the Brinks and all of those other top dogs. She's not on that tier anymore for me.
Was she ever?
I mean, I think she showed some good promise last year, especially in
Oh,
the upsets, but this year it has left a lot to be desired from her.
she was on
And I really
the team
was
too.
hoping I was hoping her doing the Team USA thing would maybe help her take a step forward, but it ain't paid off
No,
in the
it
way
didn't
I
pay
was
none
hoping.
of them, child.
So I don't know, but it ain't working for me.
Anybody else? What y'all thoughts on the Pac-12?
Oregon State's hooping. I really, really like the Oregon State team. Like you can't really rush them. They they're very methodical in their offense. They get the ball where they want it to go. And they're gonna be a tough out in the tournament. Like I don't know who's gonna play them, but they are going to be a tough out. I think they, as a collective, they're a really good team.
Yeah, I think in that conference, everything that they're doing is really dope. Like night in and night out, you don't know who's gonna win. It's really a game of matchups and who shows up in those matchups. but in the back of my head, some of the issues that the weaknesses at each of those teams, I think those things could be really exploited in the tournament. And I fear that this year in the Pac 12, they're going to run up into what the SEC ran up into a few years ago, where you do so much beating up on each other in conference. No one is healthy going into the tournament. No one has a lot of confidence going into the tournament, but everyone's weaknesses are exposed. And I fear that that's not the case, but that's what it's looking like for me in that conference. And Stanford seems to be the only team that's not foolproof because their guard play is atrocious, but there seems to be the only team that, like, can I win on my worst night if I have Cameron Brink on my team and Kiki Iriafen? Yes. I'm not sure I can say that for any other team right now in that conference.
Oh no, I agree. I feel like if any of these teams ran into a SEC team, even like a middling SEC team, it could get really nasty for them.
But yeah, I like what I see in Oregon State. They're just such a X's and O's fundamental group of girls. They're so cute.
And so,
And Cameron Brink, Kiki. I honestly did not think Stanford would be leading the Pac-12 right now. Um, but they are, and they're dominating. Uh the emergence of Kiki this
Carter.
season, like the jump she made from last year, insane. She's averaging a double double. Cameron's averaging a double double. Honestly, her stats are better than Cameron's. Like, she's playing well. Like, she's a nice tandem next to Cameron because so much attention goes to her and she takes advantage of it. And it just makes them really hard to guard.
So now, is there? What do you all think about Washington State?
Mm.
I
I
mean,
What's the Ledger Walker girl? The moment seems to always be too big. I think they're a talented team, um, but they don't have anyone that is really big or really good. And everybody else in the conference has at least one of each.
Any other teams that you think that could surprise you all in the Pac-12, or is right now it's like okay, it's Stanford's to lose, or depending on that situation, whatever that is in UCLA, if that we whatever promising news or anything that we're expecting from them, do you think that they could still make that run to go ahead and claim that championship or even the tournament?
Joe made the point in the chat that Stanford has the easiest schedule of the Pac 12 teams in this draw this season. Um, I think Utah is still the Swiss Army knife of the conference because if they're shooting well from three and Peely's her usual 30 ball self, they beat anybody in the conference. But then they're also the team that if they're not hitting the three and Peely's in foul trouble, they lose to the worst team in the conference. Um, so I think as of now, until we hear about health in at UCLA, I think you have to go with Stanford as the conference champions.
yeah, I'm looking at their schedule now, and they definitely do have the easier remaining schedule. Um, Yeah, I mean, at looking at this schedule, it kind of is theirs to lose. I was gonna say Colorado, but Colorado, they have a really like four tough games in a row versus like Oregon State, Utah, USC, and UCLA all on the road. So, yeah, it's Stanford's to lose at this point.
Okay, so we're gonna go on over to the Big Ten. Any of those games this past week may have entertained you all, or were any of them excited? I know Dolores, you said that your girls up there in the Buckeye State, they have turned the corner a little bit. So, what do you think about them from what you've seen?
I think their issues are still their issues. The only difference now is they're finding a way to get through them and win games, and that's exactly what they did last season. Was that they would start off games super slow and then get late in the fourth and have to find a way to win. Or this season, maybe they start off the game well and then have to find a way to hang on. But they did struggle to eke out a win against Purdue. But they got the win. And at this point in the season, the wins are important as long as you can learn in the process. And I think them beating Iowa let them know that like we can win. And I mean, if we look back to how they played UCLA, had they started the game any better than they started, they took the UCLA matchup because they were in it late and got really close. Same with their USC game. Had they started the game off with any better energy, they could have taken that game. So I think they can hang with anybody in the country, but it's a matter of discipline and knowing who needs to have the ball in their hands. And I think they're still trying to figure that out this year.
They have some pretty easy ones coming up. Wait, I mean, not say easy because anything can happen. So currently coming up, they have two home games, and it's Wisconsin then Indiana. Indiana, that'll be a top 10 matchup for them. Do you see them going 2-0, 1-1? What do you see
If
from them? Any matchup problems?
if the Oregon transfer, why is her name escaping me? If
Parrish.
yeah, if
Nikolai
Parrish,
Shakoba. Oh, sorry.
no,
I just like saying his
if
name.
Parrish isn't back, I think Ohio State takes it, but I still think Mackenzie Holm might drop 50 on them um with her being gone, but I do think they look like the better team without Sydney Parrish. I will say in Big 10 country, Penn State is the most intriguing team in the conference
Yes.
right now to me because I think now they are foolproof. Now they can match up with anybody in the country. I think before you just had Marissa, and the young guard on the team. I'm gonna tear her name up, so I'm not gonna say it. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But now that you've got Ashley Owusu, you got the dog to go with the fundamentals. And Owusu just makes everybody on the court better. And I think that's the thing that they've needed is someone that can get her own shot, but then she can free up space around her to get the ball to everybody else. And she runs like she can get them out in transition. They've got some really solid defenders that come off the bench. And they just look pretty complete all the way around. So I'm excited to see them against Ohio State, Indiana, or Iowa because I genuinely do believe that they now have the pieces to win a game or make it really close late against a top three team.
Circle February 8th. That's
I
when
agree.
they go to Iowa. That'll be that's going to be a good matchup, I think.
Yeah.
To Iowa? In
Yeah,
Iowa?
they go.
Hell.
Yeah, they go to Iowa.
Oh.
I
Yeah, it's
don't think it'll be
on
good in Iowa for them, but I think that they could still if they come out and make shots, scoring is hard to play against. Like a team that can score with, because at times, like when you watch Iowa play, it feels like you can't get back in the game because you can't make enough shots to counteract whatever wave Caitlin's on. Because if Caitlin is scoring, you got to be able to match it. But if Caitlin's on one of her like 0 for 7 stretches and you can be on a 7 for 7 or a 5 for 7 stretch, you can stay in a game with Iowa. You just got to have people that can score with with them. And I think now they do have that cuz baby, they got a three-point shooter on that team that when the feet set, pussy's wet, okay? It's going in every single time.
So since we're on Owusu, we're going to go to Maryland. They didn't have the best.
it. They
Oh.
got their ass beat.
They
It
they
was
didn't have the
bad.
best week. But before we get to that particular game, I want to go to the game against Michigan with little Miss Lady who transferred from Mizzou, and we saw today a young lady from I want to say that she plays in South Carolina also,
She
right?
is. Yes.
Yeah, so we see how I'm talking about the scuffle, and we saw how what's her name in Maryland, how she was painted compared
Bree
to the
Bree.
Clemson
McDaniel.
girl, Bree. Some of us were very vocal about that, in terms of how black women, black people are often presented or painted as the aggressors, and whereas our counterparts sometimes basically get a chance to walk away scotch free. So, what are your thoughts on that and how that should have been handled?
She should have whooped her ass.
I'm about to say, if you gonna give me a body, I'm gonna get my shit worked.
Amen.
Oh,
That's how I feel about it.
just like that.
I'm like, as soon as to me, like as soon as you swing, like you throw a punch and don't just throw one, baby. I gotta get you for oppression. I gotta get you for 300 years of oppression, baby. Like
I
that's
got to get you before
always
you get
my
me.
like my instant go. Like once you give me the license to get my reparations in whatever way I need to get my reparations, I gotta get them. And we'll just worry about what the result is because I'm so like we it really needs to be the find out part of the fuck around part because I think we've seen a lot of fucking around but we have not seen a lot of finding out, and sometimes you just got to be sacrificial lamb and help let a child know that it's time to find out.
That's the thing though. The ref immediately grabbed Bree,
he
not the
he
girl.
whoever the ref was needed to get found out too because I'm sick of that. Like it's too much. Like I had to watch that thing about 6 or 7 times just to make sure that I was very clear. Bree made a basketball play, and in the other clip with the high school student, she made a basketball play. On the basketball side, baby girl wrapped her thick ass, wide hip ass thighs around that little girl, squeezed her, and then A Town stomped her in the chest, and the refs looking right down at it and saying, "Oh no, the black girl threw a punch." Are you kidding me?
I just want the New York Post. They can kiss my black ass
Very
because y'all
much.
don't even talk about women's basketball, and y'all use that to villainize Bree. And then you got all these motherfuckers with dogs and flags and shit as their picture, talking about, oh, she's a thug and she's this and Section 8. And shut the fuck up, bitch. You don't know nothing about that girl. You don't know nothing about her family, where she come from. Like y'all are just so fucking nasty for no reason. You got her and her family posting pictures saying, we've been here, we a family, over a play that happened on a basketball court. She ain't stabbed nobody, she ain't shoot nobody. Like y'all really get on my fucking nerves. So yes, New York Post, kiss my black ass.
Okay, Shake, keep it going. And now on to the next game.
What's the next game? I'm not talking about Maryland basketball. God bless and good night. I wish nothing the best, but for everybody involved. Jackie has been playing better. Bree has really improved this year. The recruiting and the lack of guard, the lack of everything is on Brenda. And until she can rectify that, I don't really have much to say. They have Indiana and Iowa at home this week. So it could either be hilarious or horrendous. I don't know. We'll find out together, won't we?
Find out next time on Journey
But I
Talk.
think a real conversation needs to be had about how hot Brenda C is. And as much as like I know people love her in the area,
That's
I
another
know
coach who I feel like
like
it's like, oh, she's a really good coach. And then now I'm just kind of looking like,
okay,
well, what's going on, honey?
statistically
Like, I don't
like
understand.
her title was in 2006, right? In 2 years, that'll be 20 years ago. She hasn't made a deep
What
tournament
happened to B? I
run.
don't even see his thing.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
here. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. You went.
Flo, do you hear Dolores?
No, I'll leave.
Go ahead, Dolores. I'll add her once you come back.
Okay, bet. Yeah, no, they haven't made a deep tournament run since I think 2015, 2015, 16, right? That's almost 10 years ago now. I think we've steadily seen a decline in their ability to recruit or bring in top talent. Um, and she's not necessarily doing enough in the portal to supplement any of the lack of success.
But
Um,
I think you can consider last year a deep run. They
Yeah, I'm
went
gonna
to the
give her her
elite.
props. Because if
Yeah,
we
they
didn't
went to
have
the
to go
elite
through
eight.
y'all, we would have made the final
yeah,
four.
I mean, but for Maryland standards, they haven't been to a Final Four in since 2015, 16,
Yeah,
right?
since Alyssa, yeah.
Yeah, to me that's like do but I think like yes was last year a deep run. Yeah, I guess. like it still felt like that was the best that they could do. Like, had they gotten an upset and made a run, then I'm like, oh, that's a deep run. But, you know, I
What was
don't
that
know.
year they were outscoring everybody?
The COVID year, they lost to Texas.
Yeah, that was. Cause she saved them timeouts. She still got them timeouts in her pocket. But I mean, I think Brenda's in an interesting place because of mm, how do I say this? Maryland's success in basketball overall has not like there's no barometer to really hold her to, if that makes sense. You know what
True.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's like Brenda is the what she's done for Maryland basketball, that is her legacy. So it's hard to be like, yeah, she gotta go. But I also feel like there needs to be either wholesale changes in the assistants, or maybe they all gotta go update the LinkedIn, because I don't like the talent that comes from the area for it to
Right.
not be in like I mean Madison McDaniel, she goes to my high school that's like 30 minutes up the street. Why isn't that
Wow.
kid in a why isn't that kid in a Terp jersey? Like Jakia left, then came back to Winter, Maryland.
Yeah.
Like Madison Scott, Aaliyah Matharu, they all like it's AZ, like, and I mean I'm like she didn't offer JJ, like so it's
Damn.
I don't know how long we can just act like this isn't an issue. So I don't know
And
what Maryland's gonna do.
to me, the thing that's pushing, I know like her barometer is what they're doing there. But when you look in that conference, Ohio State just got Jelani Cambridge. Iowa's had all this success off the strength of just one major recruit. And for Maryland to be the, I guess, blue blood in basketball terms in that conference, I haven't seen enough to prove that they're ready for USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington to join the conference. Because what could happen is all their hype moves. Like all those eyes are right there in the California schools. Juju's coming to the conference next year. Betts will stay in the conference next year. Baby Betts will be joining the conference next year. And I can't even look on Maryland's roster and find somebody to defend in any of those three players that I just named. Um, so that to me, like everyone else's success and the fact that the conference is about to get better is where I look at her and I'm like, you gotta do something.
No, for real. Like, and I mean, when we Maryland initially came to the Big Ten, we elevated the conference. Like, that's when we was just running people putting up 100 every game on everybody. But since then, with all of these transfers, the competition has caught up, and now you, instead of being in the front runner, you in the back.
But
So I at some point you gotta figure something out.
I also feel like in the too. I know it's Shakira and Angel. I'm not sure which one said it or alluded to it, but they almost alluded to like relationship building. That's where Brenda's missing, and especially these girls coming out now, especially black girls in that area. I don't if I can't not kick it with you because you still grown, but if I don't feel like I can come to you, then I'm not trying to feel that. Like I need to be comfortable. We not in the days of it's just like just go who be a robot, this and the third. Like nah, like if I can't kick it with you or come, you know what I'm saying, and have a relationship, I don't want no parts. And if
No,
she
yeah,
is and if she is too stubborn to change that, then she's not gonna work. She might as well go find something else to do. And I'm
yeah.
not saying like you gotta go outside of your personality and bow down to no kids, but you also gotta don't change your whole style and be mokey, but do something.
I think it was Kira that said that she part of the reason she left is because of her. Brenda didn't understand like her personal life, like
That's what it
not the
was.
basketball shit, but
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
her off the court shit. And to me, Maryland and the Mystics have the same problem. You are in a hotbed for predominantly black hoopers, and y'all don't really have that culture translate to what y'all got going on.
Hmm.
Is
Hmm.
there anyone there in Maryland that could be their Jelani? I mean, their Joyce or their Juju or anyone like that that needs to stay home.
They
That you
got
say that
plenty.
I
I
I know,
mean,
mean,
but
it's
like
plenty.
coming up
One
over the
of them
next
is
two
going to be a
cycles.
Gamecock next year.
Okay, well, are there any others that you're like
Every
hoping that
year,
Maryland?
what you call it is going to well, she was born here, like she don't. But what you call it, the one that's going to Rutgers?
Oh,
Keone,
Oh,
Keone.
Yeah,
Miller.
Yeah, like that's another one. Like I think she grew up in Silver Spring, which is not far from Maryland. But like it's we crank them out every year. Little Kiki is smoking it, and she all the way on the other side of the country.
Kiki who?
Kiki
Right.
Rice.
She'll
Rice.
be she'll be
Um,
back home.
You think?
No, like to play.
Oh, you think? Yeah. Sheesh. Yeah, and I think I can't. I know I've seen a lot of Maryland fans say, "Well, we just don't have the money. We just." Yeah, I'm trying to. I want people to understand. If you listen to this space, everybody don't got the money. Even some of the teams with top players don't have the money. NIL isn't always a school thing. Like I can come to Maryland, and if I already have accolades and if people already like who I am, I bring the NIL with me. The school doesn't necessarily need an NIL package for me to go, right? Like I can bring that with me. If I'm already a star and the local community sees me go to my home school, the endorsements come. Like some schools do a better job of packaging it and saying we as a school have this for all of our athletes to get some sort of compensation. And I think that's pretty standard nationally. But this idea that Maryland isn't getting players because they don't have NIL money to give, I think is bullshit. Like, you think the University of Utah, now they do got some donors, the girls did get them cars, but
Right. I
they
want me a
can't
truck.
compete. They still can't compete with the LSU package. Do you think um there's plenty of teams across the country that are ranked, that are successful year in and year out, that can't do for their players what maybe Caitlin's getting at Iowa. That's
South
like
Carolina getting $17.
right, you period. $2.99 to pay for gas. Like the kid, everybody's not getting an NIL bag. Our kids getting something, yes, but everybody's not making enough to feed 5 loaves and 5 loaves and 40,000 men and all that shit. Everybody not getting that. Okay, so I want us to stop blaming NIL for the reason why your school and your program isn't getting top recruits. It might just be your coach doesn't have culture. It might just be they're not likable. It might just be they don't know how to lock in with recruits. It might be they don't understand the high school athletes right now. But just blaming NIL because there's not a lot of information about NIL is doing your program a disservice, because you're going to stay with a coach and stay with the team and be like, "Oh, well, if we just had some NIL money." And the reality is that they're not a nice person. The reality is their players don't like them after they graduate college. The reality is that they don't know how to develop them as humans. Okay? And I think that's where Maryland is right now.
Better go and sell y'all some jerseys.
Not too much. And B, I don't know if you hate me, but like the tee up for USC, the tee up for Maryland, like, do you want to talk about the Ravens next? Like, just stab me, why don't you? Shoot me, shit.
No, because I was really rooting for the Ravens, so I'm gonna leave that one alone because oof, I want the BET or the Source Awards, and we got, oh Jesus, you
Yeah,
getting the
let's move
VMAs.
past that one because that's a no for me.
Yeah. Anyway, so all right, as we've been cranking up, or we've been prompting everyone for the past few weeks about your homework, everyone's going to present their top three people for the National Player of the Year. We're going to do both National Players and National Freshman of the Year. And
Ooh.
players from any conference are eligible for this. And in the words of Lowe, when you say scratch your work, show your work,
Show your
show your
work.
work, show your work. So, you know what? We're going to make it a little hard. We're going to just do two. So, not three, but two.
Oh,
Everybody,
absolutely not.
hold on, let me get some music here and take this time to think about who you're going to have. Oh my God, not the ad. I was going to play the Jeopardy music. So, all right, take 10 seconds, twiddle your thumbs, and we'll be back. All right, 10 seconds. Lo, you're first up. Who is your first for Player of the Year?
Oh, is my connection on? I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
I don't have one. Sorry.
You don't.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just not. Yeah.
Is it because no one's ran away with the award yet? You think, or you think it's too much of a tie between some?
I just think the girl is just playing. Yeah, Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't have one, who do you think they're going to give it to then?
Oh, Caitlin.
Okay, Dolores.
I have two. The two I picked for the thread was Cameron Brink and Caitlin Clark, and then if I had to add a third, Juju.
Okay, Shay.
I think Caitlyn would have to play bad for a long stretch to not win that award. I just think it's already written in stone.
Pretty much like that 1920 season, right? Or
Yes,
2021,
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah, that
yeah,
Sabrina.
season.
yeah. It ain't happening.
Yana.
For me, I have one for National Player of the Year, and I'm going with Cameron Brink.
Mm.
I don't think she's going to win it for obvious reasons, but I think that Stanford, to me, is a better team than Iowa at the moment. And I just think that, y'all, like I say this every year, so it's probably just going to be the same thing. I love a player that play both sides of the ball. I
Hmm.
think you have to impact both sides. Like, we should have an offensive player of the year, offensive player of the year award, the same way we do a defensive player of the year, just because I feel like a lot of people get National Player of the Year confused with just offense. But Cameron's impact on both sides of the ball for Stanford has been amazing this year, and so she would get my vote.
Now, why did Diana Taurasi catch a stray like that? Wow. Okay, so this one's
Yep.
probably a little more different. Would you say, Lo?
I ain't say
Oh,
nothing. That was Shay.
Oh no, I
oh,
was about to say, Yanni, you ain't see them put Kaylin's defensive highlights on College Game Day.
They put a little defensive package together.
It was three highlights. They said, "Look, she moved her feet."
She stayed in front of her.
so now we're going to go to freshman of the year. We're going to start with you, Shay, for this one. Now, this one's a little bit more crowded company. We're going to let you give three for national freshman of the
I
year.
don't
Who do
need
you think?
three. JuJu, bitch.
Why Juju, bitch? Wait, I wasn't calling you. Why Juju?
Be nice now. Wait a minute. I mean, what she's done for that program in a year is crazy, and she don't have no whole bunch of All Americans running with her to balance that out. And I mean, we see the work Hannah do. Like it's them neck and neck to the end. And I right now, it pains me to say Hannah got the edge because of that UConn game.
Can I
Ooh.
interject though? I think personally, I think Juju has already shown that edge against her matchups.
UCLA.
She already has a win against Ohio State, already has a win against UCLA, and night in and night out, she's playing ranked opponents in the Pac 12. And that's for me why, for me, when I look at the race, it's not as close as people say it is because Juju's been doing this. Like Juju did it in a weak non conference, and she's done it in a strong conference slate. And we literally see when Juju goes to the bench, that team is a shell of themselves. If Juju is not in the game, there is a markable, huge difference in what they look like. And I think when I look at roster for roster, Notre Dame has been injured a lot this year, but Notre Dame has the better roster on paper. They came into the season ranked so high because of the way their roster was constructed. So the fact that others on that team have not lived up to the expectation and hype, that's not on Juju. Like Juju has done what she needs to do to be National Freshman Player of the Year. And I think the only reason why people are making it as close a race as they are is because we get to see Notre Dame more on the East Coast. But I think if you stayed up 2 hours later and watch what Juju does night in and night out, I don't think people would have some of the same thoughts they have. I think all her numbers are like Hannah's. I cannot debate Hannah's stats, but I think when you look at them head to head and what they do, Juju is the better player. Simple for me. I think it's very simple. Juju's the better player.
Oh, I agree 100%. But I also know how the East Coast and all of that shit by is worse. And them people do not be staying up to watch no damn
At
Pac-12.
all. At
Also, they're
all.
gonna value a win over UConn over, like, that's gonna go a long way on her
And the
resume.
gag is that to me that win would be like a beating Oregon State. You know, like it's
Yep.
not this year's UConn. Their best wins are against their conference opponents. Not they lost to NC State, lost to lost to everybody outside of that. So yeah, I think it's a little. But I agree, they're definitely going to use the UConn win as a big moment. And she played her ass off, but I still think it's JuJu.
Now, does
So
anyone
I'm on
else?
the opposite side of this. I
Oh, girl,
actually,
bitch, damn.
I think it's close. I think it's closer than a lot of people think. And I stay up and watch the Pac-12 because y'all make me on playback. So I think that, like, same reason for Brink, same reason, both sides of the ball. I think that the impact that Hannah has on both sides of the ball is so impressive. And honestly, looking at their stats, it's very close. And I don't think I'd say that Juju's stats is that much better than Hannah's if it is. Like, Hannah shoots it more efficiently. Her steals are tremendously higher. Her assists, she averages like two more assists than Juju. They both turn the ball over a lot.
And
But
she's a point
like,
guard.
well, yeah, but Juju has the ball in her hands a lot too. So she could also, like, we were at a
Well,
point earlier in the
if
season.
Rhea
We
made
were,
the damn layups, she would
but we
have
were
those
at a
same
point,
assists.
but we were at a point earlier in the season where we were talking about the ball being through Juju hands so much being an issue. That was
Well, cause
something
she
we were
don't
talking
got,
about
she
at the
can't
beginning of
throw
the
the ball
season.
to Sonya Citron, and she certainly can't throw the ball to no Madeline
Maddie
Westbells on her
Westbeld.
team.
Shit.
Cause Rhea Marshall gonna let that bitch slip through the hands. And we cannot discount the fact that the Pac-12 is a more difficult conference. Like
It is, but I do
Hannah
think what
can go
Hannah's doing is
play
still impressive.
she can go play the University of Virginia and put up 27 and 7. Juju got to put up 25, 6 and 4 against UCLA every night. You know, like
I mean, the Pac-12 ain't full of a bunch of UCLA's though. Like,
they
there
are
are some
Stanford,
weaker teams.
UCLA, Oregon State, Colorado, Utah,
Utah.
Utah.
Washington State.
Like, what? Come on now. Like, I
Compared
just
to the top five of the
the
ACC,
ACC
Yana.
is the Pac-12 tougher than the ACC,
Much
sure, but
tougher.
I'm not going to discredit what Hannah has done this season on both sides of the ball just to say that what Juju's doing is just that much better because I don't think it is. Like, I think both of them are doing what they need to do to help their teams succeed, and the records are damn near close.
But
And
okay,
like,
follow up question. Are teams scouting to stop Hannah Hidalgo?
yes,
No,
why wouldn't they?
they're not.
So teams aren't
Look,
scouting to stop Hannah.
no, look at the only game this season where I can say like a team made it their mission to get in her ass and make her uncomfortable was Tennessee, and look how she played.
Maybe they realize they can't. I don't. I've
That's
watched
my
enough
point.
games
What
to
you just
realize
said, that's my point right there. The difference between USC and well, Juju's race for National Player of the Year and Hannah's is that there are teams with that have no other choice but to try to stop Juju. You can beat Notre Dame without stopping Hannah.
you can beat USC without stopping Juju. We've seen
Wrong.
that this season. We've literally seen Juju go off and they still lose. Like that, it's the case for both of them. Like,
I
I don't.
disagree.
Yeah, we just gonna have to agree to disagree because I
That's
think
I
fine.
just, yeah, I mean,
Hannah's
I
been
just,
doing what she needs to do. Hannah's shooting, she's efficiently shooting it well. She's playing both sides of the ball well, and she's leading a Notre Dame team that's dealt with a lot of injuries. They've like literally they started the season with more health than they have now. They have like two starters that have been injured with Prosper, and there's another girl that's gone out, and so
Rich.
constantly with the team changing and you still having to be that centerpiece that keeps things going, I think that's a lot for a
I,
freshman, and she's taking that
her,
on.
if you put Notre Dame in the Pac-12, I can assure you Notre Dame would not be placed higher than USC is right now.
And that's
Yana,
fine, but Hannah will still be hooping.
Yana, answer me this question: which team, if you swap Juju and Hannah, which team is outright better?
Oh shit, my God.
If we swap Juju and
Mm.
Hannah,
Yeah.
what's the
Mm.
question? Which team is what?
If you swap Juju and Hannah, Notre Dame is what? How high would you rank Notre Dame?
Hmm. Trying to think of their losses. I mean, I honestly don't know because I like even when I think about the losses that Notre Dame has had, I don't think Juju changes that. Like, I think of the loss when they got beat down by South Carolina to start the season. I don't think Juju changes that. When they lost to Syracuse, I don't think Juju changes that. They
Okay,
just lost
so
to Washington State. So, like, I don't think that switching them changes anything for either team at the moment. Like, I do, like, Hannah's been hooping. Like, Juju's been amazing, and I'm not going to take that away from her either, but Hannah's been hooping.
USC would be where they are now with the record they are if Hannah was on that team and Juju wasn't.
Mm.
Who is USC lost to? I think Hannah could have got them past Ohio State.
Really?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah. At that first game of the season, I do.
Really? That's
Yeah.
shocking.
Why you say
that's
really like
interesting.
that?
I
Because
do give
like
Hannah her. I want to give Hannah her because Hannah does play both sides of the ball, but Juju ain't no hoe on defense neither.
right.
She sits
She's
down,
not. She's not. But I think
especially for a
Hannah's
volume
done
scorer.
more. I think Hannah has done more.
Do you think that the
Well,
size
obvious
of the
because
two
of the position
players
she
would make a
plays.
difference in their
I
respective
think
conferences?
that's the difference right there, B. I
But the
think
size, but that, what does the
Juju,
size and the
Juju,
position they play have to do with whether one of them is
because
National Freshman of the Year
Juju,
or not?
because Juju does more for her team, in my opinion. Like
I
Juju,
disagree.
you just said Juju brings the ball up the court, right?
So
And
does Hannah.
had the ball in her hands too much at times. We know Hannah can do that. But the different factor is that when the game gets late and Reyes starts getting dumb, Juju go post up, take this post entry pass, face up, get to the rim, and get the and one, and she can do it. Like her ability to do everything on the offensive end and switch. Like Juju got some blocks in that Oregon State game against Reagan Beers that ended up being the swing factor momentum wise. Like Juju's ability to rotate over onto Reyes man and get the block. Like, so yes, Hannah might get the defensive win because she's handsy on the lead ball handler when we know most of the girls in the ACC can't really dribble anyways nonetheless. But my like her ability to get those stats, but Juju's doing it she's taller. So I got to do it against the bigs. I got to
Hmm.
bang a little bit. I got to take more physicality because of my size. Hannah can kind of stay busy on the perimeter.
So basically,
That's
Juju will
fine.
eat the
I'm
ACC
voting
guard.
for Hannah at this moment
Yeah,
in
I mean,
time.
like, I just think,
But
I just think it's
that's
one of those
fine.
situations where we look at the East Coast and we give favoritism to the
But that's
player
not
that
my situation though.
I
That
think,
might be
I
everybody
think
else
it is
one, but
kind of,
that
I
ain't
think
that's
it
not
is.
mine. I've watched a lot of USC games this year. I bought Sling. I've been watching the Pac-12. I've been watching a lot. I be big up in the Pac-12 on this app constantly. It is not East Coast bias.
So
I
what
watch
outside of this
ACC
last, outside of
and
this last,
Pac-12.
outside of the showing that Hannah had against UConn, what's her breakout showing of the season?
The
South
major
Carolina.
like she hasn't really had a breakout part of the season because she's been consistently hooping the same way Juju has this season. I think they
But
both
I can point
had
to
a
like three or
breakout
four
game and just
matchups. So you can't point to like this game and say like, oh shit, like, oh Hannah, like, oh she gave me star. Cause I feel like for Juju, I can do that a few times, like that girl moments, the Penn State win, the UCLA win and loss.
So, well, I
yeah,
have a
I
question.
think
Is there
both
another freshman that's entering the race, or is
Hell
it just
no.
between those two?
nah.
Nah, Michaela fell off.
And Madison, once Rory went away, bye. She not even the best freshman in her conference.
Ooh, who's that? Abby,
Audie.
Audie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well,
Oh, I
coach
like
of the
that debate,
year.
Yana. We need to do that again.
We
It's
will
time.
when we get
It's time
closer
for
to
another one
freshman of the
then,
year again.
and we're gonna make this one quicker. Who's your coach of the year?
Dawn Staley.
Oh shit. I I don't want to I don't want to default to Dawn because I she should win, but I do want to, for the sake of argument, give my eyes elsewhere. Um, who- Kansas State, I think, is a very clear potential coach of the year candidate. I would have to say Bob Cut Tara is a potential choice there. NC State, I would give my big ups there.
No.
A Bob in a bowl.
A Bob and a Bowl. Um,
Do
those,
we
yeah,
think that if Sedona didn't get hurt, would y'all have considered Mark
hell
Campbell?
no,
No,
because they were gonna
No.
lose. They were gonna
they
lose
weren't
if
really
she didn't
playing
get hurt.
nobody.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mine is Felicia Leggett Jack.
Harry, I accept. I like.
I love that. I
Then
really
when you
hope
gotta add Shay
that.
Ralph.
Yeah, buddy.
Ooh,
Ooh.
there's been a lot of great coaching performances this year, though. Like there really has been. From well, I don't want to say unexpected because a lot of them are great coaches, but just not from the big names that we always hear. It's been nice to see like Felicia and Shay and
Colorado coach too.
her. Yeah, like they've been doing their big one. It's not going to be like the normal Gino and Brenda Freeze and who else is usually in there?
Tara,
Kim.
and the lady who was on the ground in Indiana,
Yes. Why you
Morgan.
say the lady on? Why you just say Indiana coach?
My bad. Okay, okay. So shout out to Dawn. I think she got that in the bag, especially from what they lost, losing 7 players to now integrating so many new players and still being able to do that. Still a young season or halfway through the season. I think that's my pick for
And
coach of the year.
but I think honestly, like as a collective basketball community, I think we need to sit in that a little bit more because,
Yeah.
like, I personally like went into this season fully expecting Elite Eight ceiling. Like, if I remember, I think we talked about it on Spaces. Like, if South Carolina made it to an Elite Eight or Sweet 16, I would be very happy. Like, is the expectation always Final Four or bust? Yes, but I think when you lose that amount of players, you don't know what you're bringing in, and for you to like, for me, I'm not a like, moral victory type of girl, but I think looking at everything South Carolina has done to get to where they are right now, I don't know how you look at Dawn and some of the arguments and the critiques we have about her as a coach, how those continue to fly because every
Yep.
single like, oh, their offense is just, oh god, they don't shoot the three ball. Like, it looked like the three ball is like an essential part of the offense now. When every other year it was, we still need to be able to win if we can't shoot the three ball. And this year it's like, ooh, this is an integral part of the offense. Like, you've got a team now that used to basically, if the post players don't do it, they don't win. If Camilla don't show up, the team still might win. And like, she's just found a way to put together a team and coach them in such a way that if any part of the team is failing, another strength of the team comes into play. Whether it's depth, whether it's shooting, whether it's the ability for anybody on the court to get their ones. You bring Malaysia Fulwale off the bench. You bring Ashton Watkins off the bench. Like, I don't know how you don't give Dawn her props
I
for
think it's
this season.
interesting because all of a sudden I see people saying, well, no, it shouldn't be done because she's doing a lot with a lot. She had this and this. And that's interesting because we gave Gino a plethora of awards when he's always had a lot. That's I mean, that's what UConn was. So I think it's funny now to see people trying to change the narrative or trying to be shady. And the two times I saw it, it came from people who are UConn fans. So I just think that's really funny. to see how they trying to completely flip the narrative. Because no, because all y'all definitely thought South Carolina wasn't being gonna be nothing either. That's why y'all was teaming up on this app, forming alliances when y'all done fell out.
Fake friends,
And
fake
that's why,
friends.
like, when they go into these games, like even the LSU game, I got so annoyed with like the underdog talk because I feel like a lot of people haven't acknowledged where South Carolina started and what all they had, and the expectations were very low for them. Like, to be honest, when I looked at the schedule, I said, "Oh, we'll take some hits here and here. Like, we might lose this game, but we could come out and win this one. Like, they're going to have a lot of learning lessons because they're young." And I think sometimes people forget that this team is so young, and when everybody talks about them, they're like, South Carolina's this dominant force, and it's like, y'all, this ain't the same team from last year. Like, they're still learning. Like, after the LSU game, everyone was like, LSU will be back, they're gonna learn from this. And I'm like, okay, but do you not think South Carolina is gonna learn from this? Like, they're young too. They went into this, was their first big environment game. Like, everybody was talking about, the slow start from that game and how they played and how they should have lost and all that stuff. But when I watched it, I saw a team that walked into a gym in a sold out crowd, and like, what, they had like 18,000 people. I think
Hmm.
this is the first time they played in a gym with 18,000 people that wasn't South Carolina fans. And so this was a big game for them, and all the hype around it. And they went into this gym, was down big, fought their way back, chipped away, and won. And that was a team that has never, as a team, has never been in that situation before. If Zaya and the freshies and Aaliyah and all of them did that, I'd expect it, because you have been in situations like that before, but this team has not. And I think sometimes we skip past that and ignore it. And I hate that, because what Don is doing this season is so impressive with this young group.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
There it is. Well, those are our award. Oh well, let's give your mid-major player of the year award before we wrap up and open the floor for any questions. Are there
Oh
any players
shit.
out there at shout out to the Zay Greens, Diamond Johnsons, the Mimis?
I don't think you can deny sister at Colorado State right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's been the most consistent um mid-major player this year. So I think she gets my vote.
And she's on one of
Um
the Hoop Hall Award watch lists, I
yes.
think, too.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is. Um right now. In terms of HBCU, I think I got to go with Mimi um at Norfolk State, but outside of those two, Lowe's been riding down for Mia Moore
And
and
Diamond, I mean
yeah,
Denim, my
and
girls.
Denham. Yeah, Denham just had a really big game. And I think she had a triple double recently. So um yeah, but I think Good Sis at Colorado State probably gets my favor for mid major.
Yeah, I think McKenna is still top 5 in scoring in the country.
She is. Yep.
Well, South Carolina State is still going to make a run for the MEAC tournament
Oh
title,
God.
even though we're 1-19. It's never too late to finish the season on a high note. Stranger things have happened. So that's my team. That's my mid-major team of the year. Shout out to the Bulldogs and good old Orangeburg. Is there anyone in the audience that has anything to say before we wrap up? Opening the floor. You want to get something off your chest right quick? Any games that you're looking forward to this week? Raise your hands. We'll give you about 5, 10 seconds to raise your hands. Okay. Um, Last
Stream
thing.
his, stream his. Fuck the lady with the crack in her nostrils.
Ah,
Stream
Oh,
his.
Lord.
Keep it at number one. If you have not downloaded the song, it's 69 cents on Apple Music. Stream his. We support all victims of sexual assault. Stream his. Keep Tori locked up. Support my good sister Megan. Buy the tour tickets as they come available. And again, stream his, stream his.
I don't think I bought an actual single or album
You better
since
re-download the
self-titled.
iTunes app and put that Apple Music ID in the entryway, and the password is 69 cents. I don't care if you don't listen to the song. Stream it. Amen today.
Yeah, since December 13th, 2013, I think. Who changed that world when that digital drop? Okay, so well
Period.
that's it. That's it for us this week on Spaces. We have some exciting games coming up this week, so make sure, as always, you all tune in. We'll be posting our playback schedule, and we thank you as always. And oh
And
wait, I think I got one request.
oh, period. The wind down is on the way,
Damn,
girls.
that's like 2 minutes later for the request.
Lojong Andrea Ladu, we're gonna bring you up. Hold on, right quick.
Oh God, you talking
You,
about
I know you butchered that name. I ain't even see it
toe it
pull up
up?
yet, but I know you butchered that.
Hi, Lojong, how are you?
Hello, y'all.
Oh God. Hey.
Hey, so
Hey.
I just got one question. Since y'all talking about player of the year, who would y'all pick as y'all defensive player of the year?
Ooh.
Oh, mm, mm.
Ooh, shit. Wait, let me think.
Phew.
Jalen Sherrod gets my pick.
I
Mm.
like that.
Yeah.
When's the last time a guard has won that award? I feel like it just always goes to
DD.
both.
DD Richards.
Okay.
Garden.
I mean, but does that count as DD though?
Yeah, she was the point guard.
But she's also like 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
I
Han.
like
I'm gonna go
Jalen.
Hannah. I'm gonna
I
go
like
Hannah.
Hannah there.
Let's go for some guards.
If I was doing SEC, I would go Ashton Watkins, but I think Jalen or Hannah get my pick right now
They'll throw Cameron Brink in there too. I think she's
for the
like,
blocks.
yeah. They
Or if
usually
that's the
pick it
case,
off of
then
blocks and steals,
well,
which
that's
is
the case. That
insane.
means Kiki, not Kiki. The top five then will probably be Brink, Camilla, and Watkins because they lead the country in that category.
They
And then
do.
they'll throw in Hannah
I'd
and
love to
Jalen
see
Sherrod.
Watkins in there. Like, I would love to see Watkins in there.
Appreciate that, Lojong. Did I pronounce your name right? Lojong Andrea Ladu.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
yeah, you're good.
Wait, Lojong, who's your pick?
he,
Before you
he
go,
said you're
who's your
good.
pick?
You're good. What was that?
Who's your pick for defensive player of the year?
I think
Ooh,
Lo thought we was ending. Lojong came in at the last minute.
Low don't like us. He said I was leaving regardless.
nah. I'd probably say I agree with Dolores. Probably Sherrod,
Thank
but I
you.
also like Brink in that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm like wrong, but I don't know. Like, is there a specific player that is holding that spot? Like, sure, because I don't really. I feel like everyone's playing defense to
Ooh, now
a certain
everybody's
degree.
not
Or
playing defense, but
you're right about that, but I don't
um,
know. I don't.
yeah, I think in that conference, I think from the guard spot, I think Jalen definitely is the best defender on the perimeter. I think Cam is probably the best post defender in that conference. And then if I look in other conferences, the only other conference that sticks out defensively is the SEC. So
And I
that's
think Ole Miss's defense is good, but I'm trying to
yes.
think who leads it.
I
Like, who's the
like
head of the snake?
Coach Yo is the pick for defensive player of the
Madison.
year.
Once Madison, when Madison Scott was like, I think they put her like at the point of the defense. That
Yeah, when she's at the top.
Yeah, she definitely locks in from that spot. But that's a team where everybody on the team defends at a high level. So I don't know if you can pick one um there. Um yeah. So I gotta go Jalen and
I
Hannah
just
as
know it
well.
ain't coming from the Big Ten because they don't play no defense over there. So I'll be damned.
So Caitlin's not your defensive player of the year.
I mean, those three highlights were very. I thought about it for a second after those three highlights that they showed on ESPN, but nah.
What about the
Appreciate
Maryland
it.
girlies? They don't defending over there.
The who?
The who?
Maryland
Oh,
Oh,
girlies.
that
that
was
was
so.
rude
Thank
of
you
you
for
to
coming,
say.
Lojong. We appreciate it. Have a blessed evening. I hope you cook dinner tonight.
We thank you. Yeah, I don't think anyone from Maryland is going to be in that category. So, if there are no other questions, we appreciate you all. Check for the playback schedule. We'll post that once we decide which game that we're going to
And
save
Black
date
History
for.
Month is tomorrow. Get your
Um,
memes and your gifts out.
2
If
days.
somebody white at
2 days.
your job stare at you too long tomorrow, call HR.
We got 2 days, Dolores.
Wait, really?
Yes, it's the 30th. Today's the 30th.
Oh, well, that's fine. It still start tomorrow for me.
Good night, everybody. Enjoy
Good night,
and
y'all.
go Cox.